So I started first getting interested in this in about 2008, 2009, when I wanted to try and figure out how big this infrastructure that the City of London and the UK supports in capital markets. I wanted to know the size of it. What does it do? It's complex. I'd come from a world of being in the police, albeit I had a degree and a PhD in statistics. That's great, but I came into this world and I couldn't understand how it worked. I wanted to find out. I wanted to figure out what the layers of complexity were, what all the different partners did, what all the different counterparties did. Think of it as a black box. You have layers and layers and layers of infrastructure and layers of counterparties that interact with each other, but actually you only need to think about the size of the wrapper. It's like a pass the parcel, a child's pass the parcel. You can figure out the size of the parcel. You don't need to know how many layers there are inside it. That's the size of the parcel. Well, in this world, what you look at is where that parcel touches. And what it touches is the consumer on its outermost layer. The consumer drives every single penny that comes into and out of that wrapper, that black box. So I'll call it the black box from now on. And you interact with that black box for a number of reasons, and very good reasons. First is you do it because it's safer than keeping your money under the bed. You put it in there because it gives you the ability to transact. So you can pay people. You can go cross-border, you can go abroad, you can buy things here, you can buy things there. It's not just a cash economy, you can actually send money to somebody else. But sometimes it's not very good at that because it won't let you do it. And the third reason why you put it inside capital markets is for it to grow. So if you can figure out how the consumer interacts with those three components, then the chances are you can figure out how much they earn. And I became obsessed with the largest of these touch points, the largest being the pension fund world. In the defined benefit world, it doesn't matter how much you pay, you get a certain outcome. But we're moving from a defined benefit to a defined contribution world where actually the outcome can vary and therefore the cost is material. Because cost is one side of the performance coin. Less cost, more performance. There's a very interesting piece of research I saw by a guy called David Norman, a fund manager, that showed if you pick a fund in the retail world on cost, you are more guaranteed a better performance if you pick a lower cost fund. In the pension fund world, people are looking at something in the region of 30 basis points. That's probably what you think you pay for your pension fund. The research that I've done over the past 7 years indicates it could be anything upwards of 2.5%. So some 10 times more than you think you are paying. So looking at the pension fund value chain, I've picked 3 different stakeholders. So I've picked custody banks, who serve the function of looking after the money, they're like the bank managers, the brokers who intermediate with capital markets, and the asset managers who are the ones who make decisions about your money. And of those 3, I looked at a range of companies in the UK, and I looked at the total compensation pool and divided that by the total number of employees. The mean compensation for a custody bank is about £100,000 per person. That's salary plus benefits. In a brokerage world, these are the likes of well-known names like Deutsche, Credit Suisse, banks, UBS. It's around about £180,000. An asset manager, and this is looking at the full range of employees from all the way down to someone as like a security guard or a PA, all the way up to the chief executive. Mean compensation is £225,000 a year. Given the fact that there is a 50% employee compensation ratio, what this means is that 50% of your revenue goes to employees. The most obvious way to cut your costs is to cut your employees' salaries. Doesn't take big science to work that out. If you want to cut your costs, cut employees, cut salaries. It's the simplest way that you can do it. And in this world, nobody wants to vote for Christmas. Turkeys do not vote for Christmas. Why would you want to have your mean compensation reduced?
It's very important for financial advisors, if they want business, to establish trust. One way of doing that is to educate investors. Video is a great way of establishing trust. It gives us great pleasure to see our clients benefiting from these videos. Ultimately, this is a team effort. Together, we're trying to change the way the world invests.